Alright, so I'm gonna try to backtrack some. If you watch my other video of the install, I was trying out a new camera and I would never use that one again because the quality of it is horrible. It's supposed to be in a 1080p, but it definitely wasn't. So right now we're 720p and I'm gonna try to go through some of the steps to remove the crankcase ventilator off the 6.7 power stroke, as well as installing the coolant filtration kit. So there's 4 bolts on the factory CCV. Let's see, there's 2 on the back, and I'll try to show you here. So you have to get to the back of the big box. One is here, the other one is here. Use a good extension to get your socket on and then undo. Next is right here, which is probably the only one that you can see off of the box. I believe it was a 5/16. Next is the last one, which to get to it, you're going to have to unscrew these rails here. So, one bolt there, another bolt is hiding. Let's see if I can get my hand on it. Another bolt is hiding right there. So you can move that fuel rail up, and then it gives you access to the last bolt, which is right there. You put your plate on here, plate on there in the back, and you will basically move the hose so whichever side you want it to go down. I have it going sort of down and center over the transmission, and I'm gonna hook it up to the exhaust and have it bleed in there. The other part is real tricky to get to. So this is the manifold here. If you go in between the downpipe of the water cooler, you can see a little adapter right there. So to get to this hose, you're supposed to be able to grab it, turn it, apply pressure on it, and it's supposed to come off. I end up cutting mine off with a long knife. It's basically axon at it, going back and forth, and that completes the CCV reroute and delete. Opens up a lot of space for you. So just an overview of that. Alright, next, try to go over the coolant filtration kit. So this is the ground here for your truck, 6.7 power stroke. Coolant filter, hose, thread sealant here, more thread sealant, and that. So the tricky part is getting to your thermostat sensor, which is down here. To get to it, you're gonna have to take this upper radiator hose off. There's a clip right here. Get in there, pull that back, and it allows this to maneuver up freely. But before you even think about taking any of this off, you'll have to go under the car to the radiator to drain about 3 gallons out of it. So I'll show you that portion here. So in front of the truck, driver's side, This will also be handy if you're trying to drain your radiator, change the coolant. So this is the knob here, and I think I have a small leak probably on the end there, as well as the valve here that turns. Yeah, I didn't have it locked all the way, but you get a 5-gallon bucket, drain about 3 gallons out of this here, and then that allows your upper radiator hose to be released of all the fluid that's in it, as well as your reserve tank. So the way it's set up right now, this goes on the ground, and here the bracket holds the hose that goes around. Just basically lays on top of everything here. The cross member of the T connects into your coolant reservoir. This is the factory hose here. It leads to the other T, and actually I might need to tighten this up some. I'll have to come back and do that. So this is your sensor. Your sensor goes from down here where the pipe is up until this right side. So you'll need a 19mm deep socket. Don't go out and get a cheap one. Get one that's long enough. I would say cobalt. I had a Stanley at first and it wasn't deep enough. So this is your thermostat housing. You can also change your thermostat by undoing all this in the process. So if you want to upgrade to the Misimoto, you could do that for the I guess various weather depending on where you're at. I know they have a higher temperature and one that's a lower temperature. So thermostat housing right there. Undo the clip that's here. Raise the upper radiator hose, and there's 3 bolts for the mounting bracket for the thermostat. You'll undo those. So those 2 that you see here, as well as this one here on the left, and then you can get better access to the end portion of this pole right here, which feeds radiator fluid into the sensor, as well as back into your filter here to get filtered. So for the first 500 miles you're supposed to run it, and then after change it, then I think you're supposed to be good for a year. And that's it. Also show you EGR delete, better quality.